was.
Your life has changed. You now have heart disease.
Chief Gregory had listened to his body and then pushed for answers from doctors. Here's the thing. A battery of tests came back normal until one that showed a 75% blockage in a major artery.
I'm glad I listened.
Being very close with his daughter.
Well, she's my second heart.
She stood close through his heart stent surgery, and the conversation about her health began.
I told her, even though you work out all the time and you got to stay on top of this.
And from there, he told his extended family at the department. He's created Wellness Wednesdays to educate and empower officers with a multitude of resources.
There's a reason they call it the silent killer, is because it sneaks up on you and you aren't aware about these subtle changes that are happening in your lifestyle.
His message, even when others need you to lead, serve, or even protect, listen to your body.
Take off the Superman suit and go to the doctor.
All right, so again, that message, really important here, is to listen to your body and seek doctor's help if you just feel like something's wrong. Really important.
This is WPTV, Today on 5.
2 years ago, a tragedy shook the nation, and right here in South Florida, 14 children, 3 adults killed at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
Today, we remember their lives as a community comes together to pay tribute to the fallen.
Please be careful as you head out on your morning commute. Visibility has really been decreased due to patchy, dense fog in spots. We'll check the fog tracker, talk about rain, and a weekend cold front. That's coming up.
A line of defense against the coronavirus simply doesn't work. The new warning from the Centers for Disease Control this morning as the outbreak grows worldwide. A lot to get to, but of course, happy Valentine's Day to you. Heart-shaped.
So sweet. We want to make sure to put out a little extra love into the world today. And who knows, maybe you'll get a little bit of love back. I actually keep expecting that fog tracker red blob to turn into a heart shape.
I know.
Is it going to do it?
Let's see what Glenn can do over with the WPTV First Alert forecast.
Doesn't morph that way. I'm sorry. I can try to draw hard around it. Let's start a little bit with what's going on. We've got a dense fog advisory in effect for inland Palm Beach County until 8 a.m. this morning. As kids head out to the bus stop this morning or walk to school, there's still going to be plenty of fog around, so please take it easy. Use those low beam headlights this morning. Let's zoom in on a couple of spots here. I want to show you Boca down to Deerfield. Just about less than a 5-mile visibility there. But as we take a look at the legend right here, you can see oranges and some yellows in there. That's less than 2 miles, less than a mile of visibility around Palm Beach Gardens and up around Jupiter Farms in Indiantown. We've also got some fog, less than 5 miles, less than 2 miles. I think in Fort Pierce, it's kind of in and out, but I've seen some really thick fog showing up in Fort Pierce. And also, look at this, up around Sebastian and Mico, less than a 1/4 mile visibility. Same goes for Okeechobee and Buckhead Ridge, and about a mile of visibility around Belle Glade. Temperatures are in the 70s right now, way above average for this time of morning, for this time of year, and we'll make it up into the low 80s by your lunchtime today. However, as we get into the weekend, high temperatures will be back in the 70s thanks to a cold front that will move through today. We'll talk about that coming up in your First Alert forecast.
All right, your WPTV First Alert traffic and a look at your drive times on I-95, Linton Boulevard to Lantana Road. Looking at 20 minutes, 4 minutes from Lantana Road to Forest Hill, and Forest Hill to 45th Street. Take you about 6 minutes time there as we take a quick look through the eyes of Chopper 5 and a look there at Palm Beach Gardens. It's what we like to see as you wake up. Nice quiet morning on the roads.
All right, moving forward today marks 2 years since the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School shooting tragedy where 14 students and 3 school staff members were shot and killed on campus.
And today is a day to honor and remember them. We have learned the Broward County Superintendent will be speaking this morning. WPTV News Channel 5 Stephanie Susskind joins us now live from Parkland with what we've just learned. Hey, Stephanie.
Good morning. We know that we will be hearing from School Superintendent Robert Runcie later on this morning around 9:30. He is set to be on campus here with students for a breakfast honoring first responders. That begins around 8:30. Then he will come over and speak to the media on this 2-year day since the Parkland school shooting. Now, we know for the students, it's a half day of school, and everyone across the district will observe a moment of silence at 10:17 this this morning. Now, it's also designated as a day of service and love, so not too much focus on the academics here at school today, as it's obviously a very difficult day for students, not only here, but all across the school district. So they'll be focused on doing service projects and activities to support one another, support their classmates, and also to honor those 17 lives lost. Now, earlier this week, we spoke with Fred Guttenberg. His daughter, Jamie, died in this tragedy 2 years ago today, and he says that he will continue to push for common sense gun reform, as he calls it, and he says he'll be traveling the country this election year to try to make those changes happen.
Losing my daughter does not feel any easier, not for a second. What has changed is how inspired I've become by people across this country.
Now, later on today at Pine Trails Community Park, which is just down the street from here, really an epicenter for the community and for healing after the tragedy, it will be that once again as a community commemoration happens there today. Events get underway at 1 o'clock with service projects and a ceremony at 5 this evening. Reporting live in Parkland, Stephanie Susskind, WPTV News Channel 5.
And overnight, a lot of people expressing themselves on social media as we entered this day marking 2 years since the shooting, particularly the parents of those killed and also lawmakers. Together, many of them fighting for change and turning their grief into activism. For instance, just a few hours ago, Max Schachter posting thanks to Senator Marco Rubio. His son Alex was murdered while in English class on this day in 2018. He started Safe Schools for Alex and thanks the senator for working on the most important issue, honoring Alex and the other 16 victims, and that's making our schools safe. Stay with WPTV on air and online for complete coverage all day. You can watch our documentary Voices of a Movement right now on WPTV.com. Look under the Parkland shooting section of the news tab.
A peacemaker. That is one way Joseph Bullock, the trooper, was remembered during an emotional public memorial in Bradenton. Several high-ranking law enforcement officials and politicians addressed that crowd of hundreds during the nearly 3-hour service.
There is no more noble mission than safeguarding your community and defending those who call out for help. Trooper Bullock paid dearly to accomplish just that.
Trooper Bullock was an Air Force veteran, and he spent his entire 19-year career on the Treasure Coast.
A cruise was cut short for hundreds of people after a neurovirus was detected on board the Caribbean Princess. Cruise ship returned to Port Everglades 3 days early after 300 caught the highly contagious stomach bug. The cruise was headed to Barbados, Trinidad, and Tobago. Emergency crews were waiting at the port to take care of the people when they docked. And now crews are trying to sanitize the ship so it's ready for voyage on Sunday. And that all comes, of course, as the world has been dealing with an even more serious outbreak. The coronavirus continues to spread around the globe.
Yeah, now we're learning the kits used to test for the potentially deadly disease may not work. The Centers for Disease Control sent that warning out yesterday, saying the kits may not accurately tell if someone's infected. The agency's working on a fix, but didn't say when they will have one for sure. States that are able to verify that their kits work can continue using them. Others have to wait for replacements. We haven't broken that down to the local level yet, so we'll continue to ask for answers from our local officials today. Ashley?
Well, the coronavirus outbreak has captured the world's attention. This morning, the Today Show will take you inside the CDC's war room in Atlanta, where they're trying to stop the virus before it outbreaks in the U.S. NBC's medical correspondent, Dr. John Torres, will be on the Today Show live answering your questions, including how people can spread the disease without even showing symptoms. That's all coming up right after our show.
A popular pharmacist is calling for prescription drug pricing reform here in Florida. It's after a new report showed small pharmacies are having a difficult time with competing with corporate giants. The report commissioned by the Florida Pharmacy Association shows independent or small pharmacies are being reimbursed at lower rates. The owner of Okeechobee Discount Drugs held a press conference saying more than 100 small pharmacies have been forced to close in Florida, and he's calling for state regulation.
I should be paid